sports betting brother, and they bring it up, and thanks for stopping by. Once again, I'm Boyd. I'm a sportsbetuniversity.com, and we help beginner and struggling sports bettors learn how to bet like a sharp. And one thing we've done is several months ago came across OddsJam.com, and OddsJam.com is a betting tool. It's a betting resource to understand the markets. And as we got into it further and used it and tested it and went through every detail of it, it's hands down very robust, very profitable. It is the real deal. So I wanted to create a course, give you some of the background of kind of Alex Monahan's purpose and start of this whole project and this whole resource and tool for your betting purposes, and also talk about a tour of the site, all the bells and whistles and all the tabs and buttons and things you'll have access to, and also talk to you about the markets and the sports books and why it's profitable, why it's mathematically a huge success and something you're going to want to use daily, consistently, and constantly. So put this course together just to mainly expedite and shorten your learning curve. We put in the time, the research, and the work with it, and hopefully this course is to help you jump out of the gate a little faster, a little quicker, and understand how to use this tool to your advantage. So let's get going. Okay, guys, here we go. Ground zero. This is where we started things off and kicked things off with OddsJam. Now, OddsJam.com has been around for a while, but we came across OddsJam in the middle of September 2021 as I was researching and always continuing to try to get more information for our clients and our alumni. Sports Bet University helps beginner and struggling sports bettors learn how to bet like a sharp. And as we do research and try to get content together, came across this article at Sports Handle about Alex Monahan. Alex is a Stanford grad in computer science and math. And if you read through the article here, I discovered that we have a lot in common relative to the concept and the philosophy to teach a man to fish. We don't tell people who to take, what to take, for how much to take. It's just the fact that we try to teach people how to bet like a sharp and use the tools, the resources, the analytics, and understand the markets. And Alex definitely has done that himself. And there's a great video, if you want to check it out, about Alex and kind of covering how he kicked this off. And he did really, really well, obviously, betting part-time. And this tool and this resource is something he made and created in collection with some help, obviously, from some other folks, but they kick this tool off to help you identify the markets, the areas to be, the areas not to be, and it's all math, it's all science, and this is where we first came across OddsJam several months ago. And so since then, we've obviously been working with OddsJam as huge followers, huge supporters, and we'll get into that. We'll get into why coming up, but this is where it all started, and that's the reasoning, is because the proof and the transparency that OddsJam had, very, very open, very transparent, and something philosophically we are on the same page with. Okay, guys, so here we go, and welcome to the home page for OddsJam. You can see this is the first thing that's going to open up when you come to the OddsJam home screen. It's nice because it gives you sort of a snapshot of where you are on things, and we'll come back to this a little bit later, but helps you track and trace things as far as what's going on. But we're going to jump right into the first tab here, and that's odds. Now, the reason I come to odds first is because it's going to show you every sport, and this is something I just bring up because if you're looking for an individual game right out of the gate, just want to pull up let's say an NBA game, you can do that. You can actually search with college, NBA, or I'm sorry, yeah, and NBA, as well as the live games. So let's just go ahead and hit college or NBA, pull up and see what we have. Random game. What I like about this, you can see all the markets, all the things going on, and we'll just pull up a Houston Rockets game here real quick, just as a random choice. You can see all the markets right here. So here we have the game, the time. I'm in Colorado, so this is the Colorado market of books we have access to. And here you can see this is the money line correlating here. But if you want to go to, let's say, player assist, do some player props, you could pull that market up. If you wanted to go to team total, you could pull that up. I predominantly use sides, totals. So we're going to stick with that. We'll pull up totals. Game in this Houston Rockets Dallas game, and you can see how this works here with the OddsJam perfect line, or the pinnacle. As you scroll down here, you can kind of see where the market is and the pricing for all the different sports books. And so here's where we start to fall into, here we go with the OddsJam perfect line. If you hover over that, you can see their current line at over 212. You can compare and contrast that with the other sports books. And it sort of tells you, it gives you an idea of where you would want to be or where you would not want to be based on the lines, and then also where you would want to be with the individual sports books and their offerings. So again, this is very robust, a lot of information here. It's what you can use when you come to the odds page, search any sport and any piece of information you might want. We'll pull up a quick NFL page here and take a look randomly, just pulling up, let's see, take care of the Broncos here. Again, showing you all the markets for which you can pull up and research. First half, player props, team totals, total points, point spread, etc., etc. So again, something that makes a lot of sense to do when you're doing your homework and your research. You can compare and contrast what the market's doing with what the OddsJam perfect line is. And basically, you're going to use this as a baseline or a truth in that you're following the elephant, right? So if the elephant's going one way, you essentially want to follow them, and as opposed to being against them. And using this odds page, you can identify what other sports books are doing and their price movement, what the OddsJam perfect line is doing, and where you can find value in that tool and resource. So that's the odds drop down. We're going to move on to the betting tools next. Okay, here we go with betting tools. Now we're gonna jump right to the positive EV drop down. Arbitrage is the same drop down that'll show you where you want to bet on both sides. Actually, let's jump into it right now. Show you. If you want to bet on both sides of a game and automatically win money, you can. This is a great tool to use in that it'll show you the percentage of what you could come away with. So for example, 4.77% in this Philadelphia San Antonio game on this player prop. There's going to be some opportunities there. This is a little bit more realistic, the 1.39% on this first half total. Again, you'd play both sides and you'd come away at the end of the day with an automatic 1.39% profit. I don't get into the arbitrage at all, so typically not a drop down that I'll hit. So let's kind of skip on to the positive EV, because that's where I go 99% of the time. I will take a look at the low hold in the middles occasionally. If you're doing some promos and things, we'll show you some tools and things down the road on how to use that to your advantage as far as those betting tools. But 99% of the time, you're going to be headed to the positive EV page, and we'll cover how that works to help you understand what you're seeing and how you would read this or how you would use this to your advantage. So first things first, this one right out of the gate. Here's your advantage or your potential edge, your value edge, and this is a big number, 7%. This is something I jump on here right away relative to what we're seeing. And here's how you read this. So if the OddsJam perfect line is at minus 128 on the under 135, you can get that at Fox for at plus 100, even 100. Okay, so you're seeing a really big value there. If you wanted to add that to your bet tracker, you hit this little plus button, and you would definitely go from there. So I'm going to actually use that. We'll put that in right now. So we're going to play the under 135 in this Boston Loyola Maryland game. Again, you'd hit the under 135. We'll play that at Fox, and let's say you want to put in $100. Boom, there you go. Save that, and we'll get to the bet tracker button here in a minute. But what you're looking for here is, here's the schedule, here's today's dates, today's games. You're looking for the high percentages. However, when you get into the large money lines, such as this right here, you're going to see a higher number, but I typically would stay away from, putting down $500 to win $100 on a puck line on this type of scenario. The odds are something I'm just not really into, but I'm searching for more things like mainline games. You get a lot of first half, a lot of sides, and first half sides, first half totals. I'm looking for total game point spreads, okay, total points, things like this, and I'm looking for the higher numbers here relative to the edge. Okay, so I'll find another good example. That's a good first half bet. There's an opportunity for, I call it a river dog, because this is Bet Rivers. They're at plus 132. As you can see here, the total on the under 154 is at a plus 109. So this is an opportunity at about a 5.42% to take the under 154 in the Pennsylvania Cornell game. Penn Cornell. Actually do that again. I would be over at Bet Rivers. And we'll place that bet. So we'll put $100 there. Now, this is not actually placing the bet for me. This is just going to keep the record of the bet tracker. I'll go back and place that bet right away. Key here is you got to move quick. You got to move really, really quick and get that bet placed, because these things will be moving and adjusting and changing continuously and constantly. So when you identify a game you want to move in on, you got to do it very, very quick. So you can see a lot of more under action here. You get some more under pricing, under 155. 3.85% and you can see the number we got earlier was 154, I believe. But you can see sort of I call it the options chain of pricing. You're going to see here, you'll see some of the games repetitively, but this helps you identify where you want to be on particular games and what are showing the edges in the market at this particular time. So we're going to get into more details about using this a little bit later in the video, but this is your betting tool under the positive EV page. You'll use it daily, constantly. Calculators coming up next. All right, guys, calculators. Now, there's a lot of tools here, a lot of resources for you. I would say the one you're going to use predominantly and the most is, if you choose to, is the NoVig Fair Odds Calculator. And what this is going to do is you can input the odds for the particular game you're looking at, the scenario you're looking at, and basically it's going to boil down to you the exact fair odds after you extract the VIG or the commission from the wager. And there's lots of videos that Alex has on this. Basically, this is going to show you the percentage that you would actually see as far as a positive EV. So if you wanted to calculate this on your own, you could, but I'm jumping back to the positive EV page and showing you what it's going to calculate. It's going to calculate this number for you. So if you wanted to do an individual game at an individual book on your own and calculate on your own, that's what it's going to do. It's going to give you this solution here, or the answer to this test right here. I don't use it predominantly because I'm typically using the positive EV page, but that's what that calculator does, is it helps you calculate the edge that you're going to be getting. Now, Kelly calculator is another one you're going to potentially be using. This strategy uses the bankroll management type thing, where, again, back over to the positive EV page, as you put in a wager, I saw that one earlier, it helps you identify the dollars that you might want to put on a wager. So for in this situation, you put it in your settings, your bankroll. Let's say you wanted to add that, you want to know how much you should wager on this with the Kelly multiplier. 53.51% of the time you're going to win this bet. It's telling you in this scenario you're going to bet $46.95, call it $47, whatever. But this really helps you identify the amount you might want to wager based on the Kelly criterion multiplier, and also the budget you have set up for your scenario. You can always adjust that, whether it's higher or lower with your dollar amount. But this is really nice because, again, let's say I wanted to bet on this game. I'm saying, gosh, I don't know, how much should I put on it? This is saying a unit size on this would be about $34.22 under my circumstances and my situation. I think I have $1,000 put in there for this particular scenario. So that's how you would do it if you wanted to, say, add $2,000 and adjust your Kelly criterion numbers. You could. It would just recalculate it for you and your exact scenario to tell you, hey person, you should be wagering about $62.33 on this strategy or on this Kelly criterion type scenario. So that's how that works, and that's a very, very useful tool to use under these. Now, I don't get into the other calculators as much, but they're obviously all here for you to calculate and extract the EV from, say, scenarios that you run into as far as promos, things like that you might want to use or need if you're using a very unique situation and you want to calculate something on your own. Going to get into BetTracker next and go through that. Here we go with BetTracker. Now, when you come to BetTracker, you hit the Bets button, and it's going to open up and show you your current wagers and kind of show you how we've kept track of everything. We'll stop that here until it downloads. Okay, and here we are. You can see the BetTracker. You can see some of the wagers that we put in earlier when we added them from the positive EV page. And you can see those here. The $100 wagers we put in on the Penn Cornell and also the Boston Loyola Maryland game. And scrolling further, you can see the other pending bets that we put in earlier in the day. It also identifies the sportsbook that you put that in, the details about this wager, whether it was a side, total, spread, player prop, whatever the case, and your CLV, your closing line values. So we can see we've got a little bit negative on these two. We put these in earlier, and that line is adjusted or changed. We may cash these out. So this is a good example, something I kind of done on purpose to show you that if you have this go red, you can always hedge or cash out those wagers if you jump in early on a line and it keeps going. So for example, this one here got in at minus 110. The closing line right now is about minus 125, so we have about a 15-cent value there. It's kind of nice. That's good. We like that. But if this flipped and went the other way, we would come back in here and eventually refund this or grade this as refunded. If we wanted to get our money back, we could from the sports book. So that's something we could do. This helps you keep track and grade your wagers. So you can see here the previous days. Our wagers. Okay. Did a little experimental thing here with one day, put in some player props and messed around with that. But you can see here, some of them, if we had a injury or a change and we wanted to get out of a bet, we cashed it out prior to tip-off, prior to dropping the puck or kickoff. But these are the pending wagers we have currently. So it helps you keep track of everything. Highly recommend you use this. My goal on a daily basis is to try to find, depending on the slate, depending on how many games we have, the more the merrier. And you don't want to force it. If it's not there, don't force it. But if you can, you want to get as many wagers in as you can, because essentially this process is flipping the script on the book, the sports book. So the more you have in here, the more mathematical chances you have, the more profits you're potentially going to be making as you go through these streaks. You're going to have hot streaks, cold streaks. But the idea, I typically try to have 5 to 15 games going per day, only because they're presenting themselves with these positive EV, right? See, again, this one went, we lost that one pretty close. But you have the positive EV. So here we're at minus 110. It was minus 128 in the closing line, minus 110, minus 124. So you can see the idea here is to beat, that's a good one there, minus 110, minus 147. That was a nice value, right? So some people are paying minus 147. We got that at a minus 110. Some people are paying minus 149. We got that at a minus 130. Some people are paying 123, or paying 100, but they're only getting 123 back. We're getting 140. So you can see how the value, the mathematical value, is helping in this big time. So it's not only is this tool helping you identify the game or the side of the total, but you're getting the best price, the best line, and the best ROI on your investment. So this is a pretty cool page, and I highly recommend you use it. You can, if you didn't place a bet through the positive EV page, you want to enter one on your own, you simply click new bet, enter in the scenario, the situation, and wherever you were. Maybe you did a money line bet or a point spread with a particular team. You put that all in here, and you hit click save, and it would save it for you here. So you can do these manually and just input them through the new bet button. You can certainly import the whole database if you wanted to, but again, this is what I'd recommend to use daily, constantly. Keep track. It helps you keep track of all the different sports books and the games and the amounts, because like I say, when you have many going every day, it's like herding cats, and you need the help to keep keep this organized and keep track of all this. So do it, use it, you'll love it. You'll be appreciative of the fact that you didn't get behind on it. Up next, the resources page. Good place to get a little knowledge and learning under your belt. They're keeping us up to date on promotions, on all the details and advantages you might have with different free bets coming up, or different articles to talk about tools and resources and kind of what's going on in the market. So this is a really good resource to use and kind of check in very, very frequently on what's happening in the market. And a good place to also hit is YouTube, Twitter. I know Alex is doing a ton of work on TikTok, so things like that. So all the social media, but make sure you stop into the resources page and check that out on a daily basis. I'm going to get into the sports books and the markets and talk more about that here next. That's where all the secret sauce is. So here we go. So I'm going to give you a strategy or a method that you can incorporate today, and you can start right away in helping you with a roadmap. Here's how I would look at this or hunt for this. Say if I'm taking you up to the mountains to hunt elk, just give you some more details and insight, and then just give you a gun and say good luck. I'm going to give you some specifics and some parameters, and again, you're going to build on this and use this to gain more knowledge. But this is a really basic, simple way to mathematically be in a profitable, good situation consistently. So here's what I would do if I was getting started, very, very beginner. Would be one of the many things you can do, but this would be a good feedback. So I'd start typically on the betting tools on the positive EV page, keeping in mind to continuously keep this refreshed and updated. Okay, so every couple minutes, hit this, refresh it. But you're looking for typically things between 2 and 6% as far as a positive EV. Certainly the higher the better, typically. Okay, so this one would meet this criteria. I'm also over here looking for mainline games. So that would be the whole total, the point spread, things like that. I'm not so much interested in the money lines or the first half type things. I'm not so much interested in the alternative puck lines. This is just one strategy, one method, one way of hunting. But this game right here, again, is standing out. You're at a high. We already got on this. We can see the check mark here. But what this does is it meets the criteria of being about 23 points or in differential market depth, okay, is what I would call it. And if you're 15 to 25, I guess points or variance or delta with this. So this is 23, so you got minus 128 plus 105, that's a 23. This one here, you minus 132 plus 107, that'd be right at what 25. So this is a tiny bit better. This is a total game, so total points, okay. What I like about this one is you can, again, OddsJam Perfect Line has this at a minus 128. I go over to Fox and get that at even money at 100. All right, so that's a good value. This is a good game. This is one that you would target and be very, very, very happy with. Okay, another one, scrolling down again. You got a little bit different odds, a little bit different situation with this one. You got under 135, minus 114. So, of course, the positive EV is a little bit less. Okay, so that's why this one is a little bit ranked higher in these two games. But again, this is helping you with a roadmap or a plan on how to hunt, how to research, and how to find this. 2.83, not too bad. We'd pick that up over at Fox at minus 105. The Perfect Line has it at minus 124, under 144. Okay, find another scenario for us. We'll scroll through here. First half, keep scrolling. Again, you're hunting. I'm going to hit refresh. You know what? That's good practice. Let's go back and hit refresh. Get this updated. These things are changing continuously. I'll tell you that I've had many opportunities and times where I went to put a game in to place a wager, and the line is gone. The books have made their adjustments. The sports books have changed their pricing, and it's no longer there. So this is something that, when you're hunting, you got to move quick. Okay. Here's one, 3%. That meets our 2 to 6% goal. Oh, I already checked it. already got that one. Total goals under 6.5. OddsJam Perfect Line's minus 145. I can pick that up at Fox at minus 125. Okay, so that is another one we obviously hit already, but it's how you would decide what you want to do. I'm not interested in the minus 629s. I'm not interested in the minus 215s. I'm not interested in the large minus 346. I really don't want to get into that. I really want to get into the longer shot odds of the 2 plus 276. I'm not really into that. At this particular point, if I did do that, I would be placing smaller amounts of my bets on that. I'm trying to find another one for you here, just as a good example. We're starting to get into couple of days later, and you can see where the schedule ends. So go from today into tomorrow, and that's how that works. So again, we're going to refresh this, probably come back a little bit later and identify another game that we consider looking into. This is another one, kind of low, 2.33, but it does meet this 10-cent variance. This is really good because this is low. 10 cents is a good thing. So in this case, I would go to Fox and I would place the over 221 in the Toronto game. And that's how you would save that. I really like that one, and I'll tell you why I like that one is because you have a 10-cent difference here in the market depth compared to this one up here where you've got a 45. So this is about a 27 point weighted difference in the market. So this is really attractive right here. This total 221, Toronto, Utah. Okay, that's a good one. I'm going to write that one down. Toronto, Utah. Over 221. That's a good one only because of this right here. You want to keep that. If you can get under 15, which again, this is 10, so minus 110 on the 100, so that's 10. Anything under 15 is outstanding. I like to see this number a tiny bit higher. That's still pretty darn good, so definitely want to add that one because we did. So that's how you would shop. That's how you would look. Now, that's one method and one way of using this tool on a daily and a consistent basis. I would come to this as many times as you possibly can during the course of the day to continually get updates as the markets change, as the games change. You're going to continuously be surfing this and monitoring it. And when you kind of know what you're looking for, when you know you're looking for a mainline game, not a half, not a big money line, a mainline game such as a total, okay, we'll find one for you here. Say this total here. Doesn't meet that smaller amount, so that one's out. This would work. And again, this is an alternative spread because we know this line's a lot higher. But when you know what you're looking for, this being 2 to 6, this being between 15 and 25, and also a mainline game, it helps you identify where you want to be. Here's one that's kind of interesting. Total. Interesting. Under 40, you can get plus 114 versus minus 102. So that's how you shop and how you look and how you identify your targets. And that's one method. I'm going to show you another one here coming up. How to use this tool during promos and doing other things that you can really boost your profitability. Okay, next up, let's say that you have a promo, have an odds boost, have something come up that you really want to get into. And let's say that it's for NBA games. Let's say it's at FanDuel. Okay, pretty common situation as you scroll through the books. Now, this is a great opportunity and time as well to talk about the sports books and reasons on why you would have all these sports books in the availability. It's because you need to have options, choices, and also the ability for distribution. Okay, very, very key, very, very big. You want to have as many as you possibly can. I have about 15 that I use. You're going to find that certain sports books have different pricing on different types of games, and you're going to find that certain sports books sort of have their niche. Again, let's just pull up this Brooklyn Nets Milwaukee Bucks game, and I'll show you an example of the markets. Now, it's encouraged to have as many books as you possibly can. I think you'll find that Rivers and Barstool, typically the same line originator, they're going to have the same lines. Interesting, right? So if you can have one of the two, I don't mind Bet Rivers. I have a Bet Rivers account. I have a Barstool account. Just because what you'll find is the line originators typically have the same lines. Now, you're going to have different pricing with Caesars, different pricing with DraftKings, different pricing with Foxbook, different pricing with all of them. So there again, why would you take minus 186 or minus 190, when you can get minus 180 at PointsBet? Okay. Look at point spread. You have all these choices and all these options, and you're going to need that because let's say the OddsJam perfect line here in this scenario, let's say, is at minus 109. Closest thing to that's minus 110. So if you're going to bet on this and take Brooklyn minus 4.5, why would you take minus 118? Okay. Same thing. If the OddsJam perfect line is minus 20, why would you pay minus 140 when you can get minus 125? So you're going to be able to save over the course of time and identify the play you want to hit, and then also the sports book that you want to hit it at. And with all these different markets, okay, all these different buttons are the markets for different things. And again, here's the totals. Okay, here's the total one. Scroll on down. So as you roll in here, you're going to see the OddsJam perfect line there at minus 141 at over 230. Okay. As you scroll down, you can kind of see how the market's changing and the lines are changing. And you can see how they're changing. Okay. So this is helping you identify where you want to be or where they're going to be. You want to follow the elephant and then go find the best price amongst these other books that you can achieve. So the sports books are critical because you want to have as many choices as you can for distribution, for options, and it makes sense also if you're limited potentially on a number of dollars to get down and you have two books that are at the same line, you can split it up. So those are just a couple of the reasons why you want to have as many books as you possibly can. It's not that hard to assemble them. But you'd also be able to take advantage of a lot more of the promos too, So there's just a number of reasons why people say, well, I just need one. You're doing yourself a huge disservice. And if you can only be limited, you'll find that, again, a couple of them have the same pricing. So if you just, instead of needing both of them, maybe you just have the one. But having as many as you possibly can opens up far more options, far more choices, far more availability. And that's the reason why on that topic. All right, lastly, what I want to do is I want to talk about the third method or the third reason why this tool would be very helpful. In that, let's say you had a promo going, and let's say that it was in a specific sports book. Let's say that, once again, we're going to do a promo at, I'll pull up a random game here. Let's pull up the old Denver Nuggets game here, Sacramento. And let's say that you are at a particular sports book and there's a particular promo that they're offering that is mathematically profitable. And let's just say, for example, you're trying to identify at that sports, maybe it's a same game parlay. So let's say it's DraftKings. So let's keep it easy. It's pretty prevalent, pretty common. You can actually just go through the DraftKings line, see where they're at on things, see what kind of odds they're giving on certain things, see what the other books are doing. The other books are 315, 315, 310, FanDuel. You can see where they are and where they would want you to be, contrarily where they don't want you to be. If they don't want you to be someplace, that's probably where you want to be. So they're pricing this, a little bit different than the competition. And so in order to put together or string together some of these promos or some of these same game parlays, some of these same game type scenarios, you can shop it, shop each game and shop each market specifically with each book. So that's what's very helpful. And you kind of compare and contrast what they're doing so you can identify that's a possibility of a play that you want to put into your promo, your parlay, if you want to take advantage of those mathematically profitable promos and things. So using this tool individually as a resource for those exact situations is a third and another reason why OddsJam would be the way to go. But those are some basics, some fundamentals. That's kind of what I wanted to do. The reason behind this video was just to help everyone expedite their learning curve and get you started and get out of the gate a little faster, and also give you a roadmap, sort of give you a plan that you can incorporate today. And I think that's what we've done. Now, if you have any questions, please email me. Just email info@sportsbooksuniversity.com, and I'll be happy to help you. But hopefully this is going to give you a good overview and a good method on how to attack this tool, use this tool, and it's outstanding, guys. Go get it, and let me know again if you have any questions.